Have you got your archaeologist hat on? In this second lesson, you'll be learning about why Rancho Los Cerritos was first built and the types of work that kept the ranch running smoothly. How was work back then different from work today? And what are some of the ways that work hasn't really changed?
Hi, welcome to our second lesson of Long Go Long Beach online. And today we're going to be looking at some of the work that happened at Rancho Los Cerritos a long time ago. So today we still have our work, either if your mom or dad goes out, either firefighter, teacher, we have all different kinds of jobs today. But for you at home too, we have chores that we still need to take care of, whether it be making our bed, washing and folding our clothes, doing the dishes. These are still jobs that we take care of today. And at Rancho Los Cerritos, we're going to learn about some of those people who did that work. So this picture right here, we have Juan Cañedo and Ai Ying. So these are the two people that we're going to be learning about today. So right here, Ai Ying, he was a Chinese immigrant who was in charge of all the cooking and the cleaning. We have Juan Cañedo, who was a head vaquero, which is a cowboy. It's a Spanish word for cowboy, is a vaquero. And he was in charge of all the ranch work. So we have housework and ranch work. And we're going to look at those types of work today. So in front of me are some of the items that Ai Ying and Juan Cañedo used a long time ago right here at Rancho Los Cerritos. So his first item, some of you might recognize it, some of you guys might not. This item is known as a washboard. So a long time ago, we didn't have our washing machines like we have today, where we just throw in our clothes, press a button, brings us water, cleans our clothes, and the water goes out. With this, we had to bring our water to us from a well, or from a river, wherever we got our water, use our soap to wash our clothes against this, and this was our washing machine. So this is known as a washboard, and we're going to put that right over here. And our other item, you might recognize this. This is a T for John Temple. This is known as a branding iron. Branding iron is very important because we had to identify, or had to know which cows and which sheep are ours. So this T, used for John Temple, would be heated up to really hot temperatures and be a quick mark on the cow. So you know whose cow or whose sheep or whose. So we're going to call this ranch work. So we have our washboard for housework, branding iron for ranch work, and we're going to sort the rest of these items right in front of me into those piles. This next item is a little sharp. These are known as sheep shears. Sheep shears are really important because hundreds and thousands of sheep would pass through Rancho Los Cerritos, and they had to be individually sheared. So it's definitely an item Juan Cañedo would use. So we would put this with our ranch work. Alright, and this next item, it's a little hard to see, it's a little thin. You can see that. This is known as a rug beater. Just like how we didn't have our washing machines, we didn't have our vacuum cleaners either. This would act like our vacuum cleaner for rugs or carpets. So we would pretend I'm hanging up a rug or a carpet, and I'd hit it to get the dust off. That's why it's called a rug beater. Something definitely Ai Ying used. So we'll put this right over here with our housework items. Our next item look like brushes, but these are known as wool carders. So you can see here in between we have some wool in between our brushes, and what the wool carders do is, one, it cleans the wool but also strains it too. So when I pick some of this wool from our carder, we could spin it with our fingers. We have machines that do this today now, but we could spin it with our fingers to create yarn. So if it's brushing the wool, we're going to put this or categorize this as our ranch work items right over here, something Juan Cañedo would use. This item, you see that right there, This item is known as a candle mold. So you can see there's 6 holes. This candle mold can make 6 candles at one time. Because a long time ago they didn't have electricity at the ranch either. So we needed a way to move through the ranch or to see at night. Or if we were working in a dark room, like we have our blacksmith shop right here at the ranch. I hope you'll get to see eventually. A blacksmith, he needed candlelight to see and do his work because it's a dark room. So that's something that the candles could be used for. We'll put that right over with our housework. Our last item, probably seen these in the movies, either some cowboy movies, fan of John Wayne. This is our lasso. So just like you see in the cowboy movies, this is the exact lasso, or a replication of the lasso that was used a long time ago at Rancho Los Cerritos. It was used to catch our horses, catch our cows, and our sheep. We could use the lasso to hold them down, use the branding iron to mark our cows, so these items were used hand in hand. But if it was used to catch cows and sheep, we're going to put this with our ranch work. Definitely an item Juan Cañedo used. So we have our housework and we have our ranch work items. And we get to look at more of those items in a bit. For our next activity, we're going to be first reading a little bit about Juan Cañedo, the head vaquero who worked at Rancho Los Cerritos a long time ago. That is on page 6. And when you're done doing that, you can turn to the next page on page 7. You get to make your own brand. And brands are really important because just like how we have our logos like the Nike swoosh, the apple, we identify those really quick. That was the point of the branding iron. We could see our brand on a cow or a horse, we know that's ours right away. These brands I have right in front of me, this is a T for John Temple, and he had a cattle ranch. Then he eventually sold his ranch to Mr. Jotham Bigsby, who owned a sheep ranch, and this is his brand right here. So you can see every rancher had their own different but also distinct brands. So you can see I'll put these up right next to each other as you can see the difference. For this activity, you'll need either color markers or you can use a pen. And on page 7, you're going to make your own brand in this little square right here. And the brand, like I said, it needs to be distinct. And if you look at top are some examples of ranchers' brands. So you see that they have either their initials, but also they have a symbol like Mr. Bigsby's. That's what we'll be working on.
This is the Blacksmith Shop. A blacksmith makes things out of metal. His equipment starts with something called the forge. It's a coal fire in a wooden box. You use the bellows to pump air into the forge, stoking the fire. That gets it nice and hot. One of the things that blacksmiths work on are horseshoes. You can see the horseshoe here on the anvil. The blacksmith would form the horseshoe to fit the horse's hoof. Another thing that a blacksmith works on is wood. That's called carpentry. Here we have our carpentry shop. This is where they would be able to repair things that were made out of both wood and metal, like furniture, wagon wheels. They also use this grinding stone to keep knives and sheep shears nice and sharp. This grinding stone is used like a bicycle. You sit on the seat and pump the pedals with your feet. That turns the stone. That way you can keep your shears nice and sharp before you go out and shear your sheep.
second part of our activity, we're going to be reading about Ai Ying. Remember, Ai Ying, he was a Chinese immigrant who worked at Rancho Los Cerritos a long time ago. And he would cook for 30 people every day. It's a lot of people to cook for. Your family at home is either a couple people, but Ai Ying was 30 people. And he also did the laundry too. We're going to be making our own menus, and we'll be doing that right here on page 9. So I'm going to start with breakfast, then go to lunch, and finish with dinner. And in these boxes, you could write you guys could choose anything you want. You can either draw them out or list them. So list for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and maybe your parents will actually follow through with the menu. But for this activity, once again, we're going to use markers, any color markers, or a pen. One of the items that you put on here probably involves the ingredients of butter, and if we were living at Rancho Los Cerritos a long time ago, we wouldn't be able to just go down to our Stater Bros or Trader Joe's and pick up that butter. Right here, we have our butter churn, and we would have to make it from scratch. So we would have our cream, we would lift this top in, fill it up, and put this down on a flat surface, and keep churning until we have butter. From there, we would empty it into our bowl, squeeze out any buttermilk, and we have fresh butter to use for cooking.
This is the food storage room. Kind of like a pantry. This is where they would keep all of their food. On the rancho, they had fresh food like eggs that came from chickens, fruit that grew on trees in their orchard, and they could make cheese from milk that they got from cows. They also had to buy in bulk things like beans, coffee and molasses, and these items would come from Los Angeles. Ying and Fan were the cooks. They cooked for everyone on the rancho. They had to cook different meals for everyone, which is why we have spices, because the workers like spicy food. The Bixby family lived during an exciting time in history when new technology was being invented all the time. Before the Bixbys lived in Rancho Los Cerritos, people used big churns like this one to churn their own butter. But by the time that Bixbys lived here, new butter churns had been invented that took much less work. All you had to do was turn the handle to make butter, and this would save a lot of time. Since they didn't have refrigerators, butter did not last very long, so they had to churn butter very often. Without refrigerators, fruit would also not last very long. Another new technology that the Bixbys used was home canning, where fruits and jams could be preserved so they would last much longer. This also meant that the Bixby family could eat fruit even when it was not in season.
I'm sure you and your family are having a lot of fun with all the activities we have in our Long Go Long Beach activity book. And if you're taking photos of either working activities or even cooking your meal that you made. If you have photos, please post them online and tag at Rancho Los Cerritos.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm sure all of you archaeologists can't wait for your next adventure. Until next time.